Natural athlete. Sagittarius are natural athletes. Physically, they can do it all. They have amazing hand-eye mind coordination. You know, they just know how to move their body in the right way to do the right thing. They have natural abilities in physicality. So sports is an easy field that they do well in. You know, so many Sagittarius do well in sport. I'm not saying that they're the best ever in sport, but they can go into that field very easily and have a career because it's natural to them. They move their body, they're strong, they're powerful, hand-eye coordination on point, on point. Their best friend is Leo, and Leo is their best friend because obviously the fire element obviously is there, but you know, compare that to Sagittarius and Aries. Even though Sagittarius and Aries do get along, they encourage each other and they do many things. Aries is too much, very individual. They're very individual, independent. Also, Sag is independent, individual. So there's an individual, they go their own paths and their own thing. But Leo draws out that Sagittarius fun side, you know, adventurous side. They just have so much fun together, so much excitement together. Also, Sagittarius teaches Leo things, you know. Leo learns of Sagittarius and Leo respects the Sagittarius too because that power and that knowledge, Leo can really, truly absorb what the Sagittarius needs to say. So, you know, it's such a great friendship, to be honest with you. It's a great friendship and it's fun. I'm not gonna lie, they have a lot of good times together. There is no doubt about it. Time of day is 10 p.m. and 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. This is an interesting one. I'm going to touch on this later. I'm going to go back to this. But how can Sagittarius improve? Well, they can improve. They have to go through their life having a moral crusade. And what do I mean by moral crusade? Well, crusade. Well, what I mean by that is basically they must have a period in their life to live a righteous way. You know, this could be very early on or later on, but they must do that. If they don't do that, they will never get to the echelons of their life where they need to get to. You know, they must live righteously, properly. They can't just be doing things in the wrong way or immoral or, you know, sneaky. They must be open, honest, fair, and live this honest way for a long period of time. And when they do that, their life is going to improve drastically. You know, this is Sagittarius is a spiritual sign. People don't really give them enough credit for. It doesn't have to be they have to be going to church or meditating and praying, etc. But they do have a level of spirituality within them. And when they do this moral crusade, it kind of raises their own vibration. And when you vibrate higher, more things you attract to yourself. And that's what this moral crusade is truly about. So that's the key for them to improve and to increase their value. Wisdom, or gaining wisdom. Yeah, they need to gain wisdom. And how do you gain wisdom? Well, this is through learning and experiencing. Yeah, this is through knowledge and experience. You know, whatever they do, whatever path that they go down, they must learn very intensely, very thoroughly, and then they must experience what they learned very intensely, very thoroughly. And when they do that, they gain wisdom. And with that wisdom, that could be anything that they do. They can market that wisdom at a high price. Because once they become wise to whatever that field is, everybody wants to know what they know. And they have so much knowledge that they become the best. They become one of the best, if not the best, you know. So knowledge and experience combined. So sometimes that means they're making mistakes and this, that, and the other. And sometimes the Sagittarius journey for wisdom can be longer than others. Can be longer. Can be. But nevertheless, they must do it. if they want to truly increase their value to the higher levels that they want it at. How do they maintain their health? The biggest one, avoid alcohol. And obviously that's generally for everyone, let's be honest. Let's be completely honest, that is generally for everyone. But the reason why I specify it for Sagittarius is because Sagittarius rules the liver. And we know the negative effects that alcohol has on the liver. So for Sagittarius, their liver, they need to keep their liver precious. They need to look after that liver properly, and avoiding alcohol at all costs is really the key. And I know Sagittarius can drink a lot. They can handle their drink too. So it's kind of like a hard thing for probably Sagittarius to do, but avoiding alcohol is the key for them to really maintaining long health, because you know these people are positive naturally, so they don't normally get ailments unless they're really killing their body, you know. So they must avoid it at all costs. It's vital for their vitality, and they can do that with this spiritual practice, which is fasting. Fasting is a spiritual practice. It's been done over centuries. It's in the Bible. It's in the Quran. It's in everywhere. You know, fasting, you know, going 24 hours, 48 hours, 36 hours, 3 days, 1 week, whatever it may be, 21 days, if you can. Fasting, that for them is such a spiritual cleansing, healing process for them. It's a discipline that they must incorporate in their life in order to truly have spiritual enlightenment. They get amazing ideas, amazing things come to their mind when they fast because of this. You know, we're going to go into their sin and stuff, why and everything like that. But fasting, you know, cleanses that liver, which is important for them as well. So it's a spiritual thing. It helps them relax. You know, it kind of like, you know, because Sagittarius are kind of like indulgers and spenders and stuff like that. And, you know, they can sometimes be risk takers. And when they're forced to fast, they don't do that. They just center themselves in their being. The external life, the external world doesn't become completely meaningless, but you know, the external world is not, you know, what they want and what they desire doesn't matter. It's just about them and their body, instead of chasing like adventure and impulsivities and stuff like that. Their purpose, generosity. I think I spelled that right. Who knows? Generosity. That's their purpose. And yeah, I just feel like Sagittarius is when they're here to give. They're here to give. Sagittarius are abundant with wisdom, knowledge, experiences, understanding, learning. They're just abundant. You know, they attract money as well because they have a positive mindset. You know, even if they don't have nothing, even if they feel like they're going down the wrong path, or where they feel like something's going to go wrong, they still have a positive mentality. And that all of that combined, they can really have a generous like mentality, a really generous mentality to give to others, to give people their time, their energy, gifts, their wisdom, their knowledge, everything that they need to. Their purpose is to give. They need to give. That's what they're about. Giving people help, giving people advice, offering their services, offering somebody else who can help somebody. Like, they're here to give. Generosity is their purpose. Like, you know, because the more generous they are, the more abundant they become. It's really that simple. It's positive plus positive equals positive. And their deadly sin, gluttony. When they are gluttonous, this is a really big negative for them, and life can go the bad way. Like, it's avoiding alcohol, it's drinking too much alcohol, it's eating too much food. They can have a major appetite, Sagittarius. You know, when the saying, eat like a horse. Sagittarius is half man, half horse. So, you know, this is where it comes from, the Sagittarius. And yeah, they need to be aware of that. You know, they are active and they do like moving, they do like traveling, they do like going places and long distances and stuff like that, driving places on the bike, motorcycle. They like all of that stuff, but the gluttony is always going to get them if they're not aware. They need to be very aware of it. And I'm going to go back to the time of the day, 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. It's interesting. I'm trying to figure, because I can't, it's not clicking. I know it is 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. But I'm going to edit this little bit out. I'm still thinking. 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. Why is it a Sagittarius time? Yes, I got it. So what should we do before we sleep? This is the key. This is the key. What should we do before we sleep? And I'm not going to edit this out. What should we do before we sleep? We should read. And what is reading? Knowledge and knowledge-based. Knowledge, or we should be learning something before we sleep. Do you know why? Because when we have these, just before we sleep, like let's say we're reading a book and we fall asleep while reading, or we're listening to something, can we fall asleep while listening to something? There's a stage in the mind when you fall asleep for 5 minutes, that's called theta. And that's really giving you so much information, you know, it's giving you, and if you give yourself, you know, Sagittarius is about mental exploration, higher learning. Between 10 and 12, you should be going to sleep. And if you give your mind higher learning during this time frame, it will go in your mind and you will have it for life. It will not go anywhere. So you should read a book or learn something on a higher level during this time. And when you do fall asleep, that's going to be sinking into your mind. Take care.